As you can see from the welcome back to the trailblazing expedition that's on my screen right now, it's been a while since I've played Honkai Star Rail. And obviously you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title, I'm gonna come back to Star Rail. And today I wanted to talk about why I've come to that decision. A few weeks ago now, Etheria Restart released. And I really thought that Etheria Restart was going to be my new main gacha game. Now don't get me wrong, Etheria Restart is pretty awesome and I really love the direction that they went with it, but the game isn't really for me, and I'm gonna get into that. Now I do YouTube as a hobby, my main job is actually editing videos for other people, and because of that I get the privilege of working from home. And because of that, when I'm not editing or working on my own videos, I have a lot of free time to be playing games. Now, this is totally my way of playing games, but I love to main one game and get as good as I can in that game. Now, I'm sure a lot of people will understand what I mean by that. I went through a big phase of Marvel Rivals doing that, where I would play like 10, 15 games of Marvel Rivals a day. I did the same when Elden Ring came out. I did a little bit of that when Night Rain came out. But the longest I've like quote unquote mained a game for is when Genshin came out. And then I did the same with Honkai Star Rail, and then I did the same with Zenless. Now Zenless not so much, I didn't play that for too long, but I did play Honkai Star Rail as my main game for probably over a year. And the reason that I quit was, one, when you play a game every day, things do tend to get a little bit stale. And especially with Honkai Star Rail, there is a lot of dead patches where story isn't really getting updated much. The only real new content is like characters and banners coming out, or like resets for the monthly game modes, and the game just got really stale. Now this became even more of an issue when the whole power creep controversy started coming in, when the characters that I would spend, potentially weeks and weeks building would simply just get replaced because a new character came out who was infinitely better than them. But one thing that I did always love about Honkai Star Rail was the character design, the story, and being able to walk around, do exploration when I have the time. And when I don't have as much time, being able to just auto-battle some progression. So anyway, the final straw for me was Casterus, and when she came out, I kind of just quit the game, especially because I knew that Etheria Restart was around the corner. I'm someone that really does enjoy PvP, and with the major Hoyo games, including HSR, PvP just really isn't a big deal. So with Etheria Restart around the corner, I was super excited to grind out the game and try to get at the top of the leaderboards. And that is something that I actually accomplished. My guild, Techie Town, got to max level pretty much within a week of the game coming out, and in the first couple days, I was top 200 in PvP. And for the first week at least, the game was amazing and the game was perfect and exactly what I was looking for. But after that week is when I started to realize that I couldn't main Etheria Restart. And before I get into that and why Honkai Star Rail will give me what I need, if you are planning to spend any money on Honkai Star Rail or any gacha games really, make sure to use today's sponsor, LD Shop. In-game currency in gacha games can get pretty expensive, and that is the issue that LD Shop, the sponsor for today's video, is trying to fight against. LD Shop is a safe and reliable game top-up site that I've actually used myself, and if you plan on spending any money inside of gacha games, you should use it too. They offer discounts on tons of games, including 38% off on games like Star Rail, Genshin, and Zenless, and 29% off on Wuthering Waves. Not only that, but using my link in the description and registering to LD Shop, you will receive another 10% and 5% off coupon. And the best thing is, you don't have to give them any account details. So let me show you how quick and easy it is to buy something from LD Shop. As you can see, 980 Lunite inside of Wuthering Waves would cost me £15. But buying it through LD Shop, it only costs £10.50. That is 30% cheaper than if I bought it in-game. And you don't even have to fill out any information. Under product info, click what server you're on, and simply copy and paste your game UID. And as you can see, going into the game, there it is. No account information, no email and password, simply the server you're on and your UID. So please, if you're thinking about spending any money in these gacha games, save yourself some money, click the link in the description and use LD Shop. Now back to the video. The biggest problem for me with Etheria Restart was just the absolute low ceiling of progression. What I mean by that is that after a week, progression went from constantly getting little upgrades, constantly getting better artifacts and levels and characters, to spending the entire day to maybe getting an extra piece for one of your characters. But the biggest reason for me was that with any gacha game, I stop playing when it starts to feel like a chore. And for me, Ethereal Restart has been the biggest chore of a game that I've ever played. Now, what I mean by that is that it felt like I had to come on, or I would just fall really far behind everyone else. You know, the FOMO was kicking in, the guild stuff and the PvP stuff I didn't want to be behind on, and the general progression of the game, or the gameplay loop, I should say, started to just get really dull. You click on a game, you change the slider to 10 to do 10 rounds at the same time, and then you let Ethereal Restart run in the background. Now, you might be thinking that's exactly what I'm doing here in Honkai Star Rail, but the difference is when I'm not busy and I have some free time to play, there's exploration and an open world that I can explore. Well, not an open world, but like an overworld that I can explore in Honkai Star Rail that Ethereal Restart just doesn't have. Now, it does have the campaign mode where you get to control the character and look around the map and collect chests, but they're little like 20 to 30 minute games, and there's only like 10 of them, I'd say, so I finished that in the first like few days. And honestly, the gameplay loop of just clicking go and then leaving it open in the background doesn't do anything for my brain. It doesn't stimulate me. It doesn't make me feel like I'm good at the game or even that I'm bad at the game. It doesn't make me feel anything when I play. And I think that that is the major difference between Ethereal Restart and Honkai Star Rail. Honkai Star Rail does have a similar gameplay loop in the way that the turn-based mechanic works. And the way that Honkai Star Rail is different is that even though it does have the same sort of turn-based gameplay loop, there is an entire list of quests that I will probably never complete that make me go around the world, go through the maps and explore and finish these quests. And even though I wasn't too fussed about that when I played Honkai Star Rail originally, in hindsight, being able to have that freedom of walking around and interacting with the world is something that I really appreciate. Now, you might be thinking stuff like power creep and the dead patches are still in the game. However, it's been a long time since I've played Honkai Star Rail, like a good few months on this account, this main account. I have like 2 or 3 main quests and even like an entire world that I haven't unlocked. So that'll probably give me a good few weeks of content in that. Not to mention there's new characters and new game modes that I haven't done yet. And probably an entire new lists of quests and side quests that I have to do. And on the topic of power creep, after playing Ethereal Restart and looking at the PvP mode, I have come to realize that as Honkai Star Rail doesn't have PvP, power creep really doesn't mean too much to me. Now, I know that that is an unpopular opinion, as it's kind of just like allowing them to get away with bad business practice through negligence and through not caring. But for me, it's a video game. I'm going to get enjoyment from using the characters that I love, like Fei Zhao. And even if Fei Zhao gets power crept into like the worst tier, I'm still going to use her, and it's a single player game at the end of the day. And this is going to be quite a short video, but that's just the point that I wanted to get across. There's been a lot of stigma around Honkai Star Rail recently, and I'm not saying that it's a perfect game in any way. I think that Hoyoverse are doing a pretty bad job of making the game, in my opinion. But gacha game is really stale at the moment. Solo leveling Arise was pretty fun for me for a while, and Ethereal Restart I give a good go. But until the new really hyped games like, what's it called, like Silver Veil? But until the really hyped games come out at the end of this year or the beginning of next year, I really just think that I need to stop caring so much about the community and the development of these gacha games and just play games that interest me. And for me, Honkai Star Rail scratches the itch that I need after editing all day and wanting to chill and play a game. So I hope the video wasn't too boring and you enjoyed hearing my take on Honkai Star Rail, and do make sure to check out today's sponsor, LD Shop, link in the description. But have a good day, let me know your thoughts on Honkai Star Rail and gacha gaming in general, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.